I'm Donna Hetzler.
And I'm Sally Smith.
We, just like you, are bravely walking through the dark valleys of life in hopes of scaling joyful summits.
We believe that safe and trusted women are a force to be reckoned with. When we climb together, we can reach the mountaintop.
Many of our challenges come from feeling as if we are stuck while trying to ascend, hiding in crevices, waiting for storms to pass.
Might we suggest that you have a more proactive role in reaching the peaks of your own life?
Let's laugh at the untruths we were taught, from the common religious myths to the lies we believe about our situations and about ourselves.
It is our hope that our time together brings you solace from life's daily drudgery and a bit of lighthearted laughter.
This is a safe place where you are welcome, right where you are, even in your questions and doubts. So rise up, sister. It's time to conquer together.
And we certainly hope you'll say,
"Now that's funny!"
Welcome to another episode of That's Funny with Donna Hetzler as your host and Sally Smith.
That was a good one.
I
Thank
think I have
you.
my fighting stance now. Let me put you in a headlock. Come here. That was unexpected. Okay.
Okay.
Well, now we gotta find our
find our
inner self.
inner selves. I love my husband. I love that. I just love that he is part of this.
Yes.
Anytime I ask him to do anything, he and my son are just always right on board with me. So I just so much appreciate it. And I love the laughter that he brings.
There's always something.
There's always something
that we're laughing about. So that's too fun.
Well, welcome.
Yeah,
we're
welcome.
at another episode.
Welcome to our boxing match of That's
Woo-hoo,
Funny.
That's funny. How did you do with dropping the weights of negative self-talk? Were you able to sling those stones? Please make sure you're commenting, liking, subscribing so that we can hear from you. We're going to continue on with that false narrative,
Which is?
which is that you are never good enough.
Now that's funny. All right, well, let's just jump back a couple of episodes here, and we talked about childhood giants and those narratives that we take on, false narratives that we take into our souls as children, that we carry around with us, and then they become labels like rocks, and we get stuck on those rocks. I loved your story about teetering
On potato salad?
on potato salad. I wanted to say island, but it's potato salad mountain, right? Okay.
Yep.
And you get stuck in those past failures, and you're just teetering in life, and that's all you can focus on is being on the rocks and not getting off. But we can use those rocks to sling them, kill our giants, and quit dragging them along. And then we talked about past failures and how we get stuck there in those past failures, and just getting over and getting past those as you progress and work through them. So
Right.
it's been quite a journey so far, and 3 episodes in, we've had a lot of comments,
I know.
feedback, and you guys help us. You all give us great ideas, and what about this, and what have you thought about that? And so it's neat getting all those messages too.
It is. We love to incorporate them in too because,
Yes.
we're not perfect. We don't claim
Oh
to
yes,
be.
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Just ask me.
Miss Mashed Potato.
I never get stuck on anything. Just kidding, seriously.
All right. Well, sister, you can never live your full potential.
That's true. Yeah, if you are stuck,
Right. Or get where God is taking you if you keep stuffing the weight of those rocks in the backpack and making it so heavy that your wheels are spinning.
Right.
You have to let go.
You have to let go. That's a tough one because I think we all do life with clenched fist, and
Right.
we talked about that on some of our earlier episodes of just holding on, and living life with open hands. So yes, you've got to let go. Well, we're going to talk about another reason, since we had so many comments about why we get stuck in this false narrative of never good enough. And so we're going to talk about managing those around the table.
Huh. Interesting, because I certainly can't manage you around this table. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the people in your head? Are you talking about your imaginary friends?
Well,
Please
yeah.
do tell
Yes,
us.
yes. Check. Yes. You're saying I have friends in my head. Okay.
I know you do.
Yes, you are correct on all accounts. We're going to talk about those inner voices that, come to life. And so we're going to talk about a story that I shared with David and I. We were in an upscale restaurant, and we were having a really good time together. We had a date night, and our waiter was very attentive to us, and it was just going so smoothly. And then about, towards the end of the meal, the restaurant got so busy, and this waiter was not tending to us, and so he was practically ignoring us. And so it was like, I wouldn't have mind to have, a little more of one thing, and we were talking about dessert, and, and so we're just getting ignored, and so David's getting, you could see him amping up, like he's just getting more and more upset. And so finally, the guy just doesn't ask us if we want dessert, nothing. He just comes over, slaps down the bill, and walks away.
How rude.
And David's like, oh, heck no. Like, he's all like, yeah. And so that was the nice version, as you can tell.
Yes.
I paused on that. So I'm getting anxious and nervous because David is amped up. And then we're on date night, and this argument ensues. Like, he says, I'm not giving the guy a tip. This has been horrible service. And I'm like, you have to give the guy a tip. And we start arguing about the stupid tip. And so our whole date night's like getting amped up, right? And after reflecting on it, I decided there's all these personalities that live inside me that are getting triggered from childhood, from, all my years that, I've lived. And they've developed within, and they were all getting upset about different situations. And so I sat down with it afterwards, and I was like, who is this? Why am I so anxious? I mean, what's the big deal if he's angry? He's not angry at me, he's angry at the waiter.
Right.
And so, I really dug into what this was. And so there was the little girl inside who was like, oh my God, he's going to be mad. It's going to ruin our night. I'm going to be abandoned, the whole bit. And so she's like screaming at my inner table, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're going to be left alone. And then I have the magician inside who is like, oh, we'll just all make this disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's just make a magic trick and it'll all be gone. I'll move the bill and we'll just like, let's ask him for dessert and it'll all be good. And then there's the religious Pharisee that lives inside who's like, okay, well, let's just all pray about it because this isn't very godly how you're acting.
No, that's funny.
That is funny. Because I really don't like the religious Pharisee, but there is one that lives within, right? And then there's the people pleaser, where I just want to please David. And then I'm like beating myself up because I'm like, well, why didn't I say, yeah, you're absolutely right. You shouldn't leave a tip. You do it. You do you, And then there's the avoider, who just wants to avoid it, change the situation. I've got the introvert inside who's like, can we just go home, go to bed, put the covers up over my...
I don't do that.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could identify with that one at all. There's the actress who's like, darling, it's all fine. We'll just go out and we'll start over, kind of like Ginger on Gilligan's Island, like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, there's Miss Anger who's getting really upset inside, is like, all right, I've had it with all of you. And then the manager comes in, and the manager's like, okay, everybody calm down. This is what we're going to do. Now you really think I'm insane, don't you?
I'm beginning to wonder.
She's starting to scoot
I'm
out.
starting to scoot this way.
She is not my friend anymore.
I don't know her.
Well, so that's my story.
My
That's all I
goodness,
got.
that was kind of a lot. My brain is kind of going, and as you were saying that, I'm thinking, oh gosh, like, I have those in my head at my table too.
Yes. I especially, the introvert with the bed, I thought you could identify with.
Oh yeah,
for sure,
that's my go-to.
Yeah.
I hide in my bed, pull the covers up over my head, and all is well.
Yeah. Life is good.
Life is good.
Don't have to deal with it.
So Donna, you're talking about all of this. How do I apply this to help myself feel more than enough?
I don't know. You want wisdom? Go ask someone else. I don't know. All right. Well, let me put my wisdom cap on.
Put your wisdom cap on.
Let's see. How might I deal with my personalities? Well, I do believe that because we have these inner personalities that, ring true or call something out. And there are times when these inner voices really are there to help you or alert you to something through experience. So you do want to listen to them. You do want to, kind of flesh out, okay, who's asking what, who's afraid or not afraid, who's signaling to you, so that you can, kind of pull that apart, because there might be some things that need attention, right?
Right.
And so we do need to listen to those within, but we want to honor them. And so, like for me, it was, okay, we got to tell the little girl, the manager has to come out and say, everybody sit down at the table.
Right.
Little girl, you are not abandoned. We're going to be okay. Even if David blows up and he leaves, you are never alone. Just like we talked about replacing those negatives, with the positive rocks. That God says you're never alone when,
Right.
So if you're feeling abandoned, he's always with us. So it's talking to each of those and being like, okay, we can't just make this all disappear. We're not going to be all religious on your husband because he's going to get more angry, because that's not the right thing to say, right? Can't always be a people pleaser and make David happy. It's not my job. I can't avoid the situation, and a lot of times I can't just run from it and get under the bed, although we sure like to from time to time. And the actress is all great, but now you're pretending that, it's going to be okay when it's really not, and anger never solves anything. So anyways, the manager's just got to put all those into place and be like, okay, what is really going on? And if I get in a situation like this again, how would I do this more productively? Because that's what we're aiming for, right? We're trying to be more Christ-like without being the religious Pharisee, but how could I make this more productive? And so what I came up with is, look, I know you're getting upset. I'm getting anxious. I feel myself, and this is our date night. So you don't leave a tip. You do what you got to do to be you. I'm with you 100%. Can we please just make this night, like as soon as we leave this table, can we kind of start over and do this again? And
Drop it.
Yeah, and drop it and move on and have that communication so that him and I are okay, that we're healthy and we're not leaving there like all frazzled. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah,
It
so
does.
it's just managing those around the table and then identifying it in this situation, which takes practice, because it takes me, I'm a processor. I have to go home, think about it, and then re-implement on the next date night, right? I
Right.
can't just do it there.
Right.
But I'm getting better at it as I go along. So hopefully
you-
that's helpful.
It is. It's helpful. But so what I'm hearing you say is like triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of when I'm hearing you say that and I'm processing it, it kind of brought me back to, I was thinking about Moses.
Oh, yeah.
And, like triggers that he may have had.
Oh, yeah.
Like processing, using words, not having the best words, maybe a
Right.
stutter. And Moses was talking to God.
Yeah.
And I feel like God is saying to Moses, you may feel inadequate, but I am not. I am able to help you in this situation.
Oh, that is so good, because, in talking about all those, managing all of those, it's also going to God and going, God, help me to see
Right.
what's going on here so that I can be, a better reflection of you. So
Right.
see, you always bring in that wisdom and stuff there too. And one of the things I was going to say, this is different than, we've talked about slaying the giants, dropping the rocks. In our life experience, even though we have all those, we've slayed the giants, there's still triggers within.
Right.
And we have to deal with them.
Exactly.
So even though we slayed the giant, dropped the rocks, there's still things that are going to come up based on experience.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So just kind of to wrap that all up, I was thinking about a paragraph in your book talking about
Oh.
sitting at the table. So I just want to read this real quick
Okay.
before we sign off. So you say, can you name those who sit around your table? Can you hear them calling out to be heard and acknowledged? Are you willing to listen, reassure, and care for them? Each one is telling you something. Each voice provides important warnings and messages so you can be the healthiest version of you. But remember, only you, as the manager, get the final say. Then you can decipher your needs and clearly articulate them. This releases you to receive from God, from yourself, and from others. This frees you to receive.
Love it.
I love it too.
Thanks for bringing that one
Yeah,
up.
I love
Yeah,
the author
very
who wrote it too.
Well, thank you. The actress is coming back out. Hey, let's keep working on that this week. Let's work on kind of identifying those around the table, and being the manager, because only you are the one in control and can change your life. So I am hashtag more than enough, hashtag cherished and loved, right? Subscribe and like and all those good things.
That's right. And keep the faith and don't believe the lie that you are not good enough.
Now that's funny.
From the heavens high above, I feel the touch of his laughter and love. In every moment, tear and smile, God's humor is heard, every step, every mile. Keep walking, dear sister, you've got this.